Good song.
Oh, yeah, I like it.
It's almost like throwback 80s rock.
Yeah. And some of the guys in this band were in a band called Boba Flex I've seen a few times live. Really good.
Cool. Hello.
Chris.
No problem.
I'm here.
Hey, meet Jimmy. Jimmy, meet Chris.
Hey, Jimmy.
Chris,
how you doing, man?
Hey, so we're going to blame all of this on Chris. The whole delay is Chris's fault.
That's what I was going to say, man. We were just talking about you.
Right, fucker.
Yeah. He was probably telling you some lies. He probably told you that he's actually the Tiger King, and yeah, and then he'll come out and be like, fuck,
man, that song is good.
He'll be like, fuck Carol Baskins, but deep down
Carol
inside,
Baskins.
he's wearing leopard print underwear. You know?
Man, that's betrayal of the tiger print thing, man.
That's
I
right.
don't like that. You got to stay loyal to the tiger stripes.
So anyway, thank you for joining us, Jimmy. I appreciate you taking the time.
Yeah, of course, Bruce. Of course, Chris.
So I wasn't familiar with your music till Shauna sent it over, and we listened to it. I think it's some really good hard rock. But for those not familiar with you guys, can you give us a 2-sentence boardroom pitch?
Yeah, man. I like to think like we're what would happen if like 70s, some of the classic 70s rock and roll bands started in the 21st century. We're not really trying to sound old or sound vintage, but we all take a lot of inspiration from it.
Okay, that works. That was a beautiful pitch, actually.
Yeah, I was actually shocked because I've never heard of you guys before, but when I was doing my research earlier today,
Jimmy.
Why are you laughing?
Sorry, Jimmy. He doesn't do much research. He probably listened to you 5 seconds before.
No. Today, I actually started doing research. This is we've been doing this podcast. We've been doing this podcast for what, a year and a half?
Yeah.
And my lack of research has been the reason why we have such huge ratings. But
yeah,
right.
Now
what I heard. I heard it was called the worst research show on the internet.
Right.
So, like, now that I'm researching, maybe I'm trying to tank the podcast. I don't know, but this is kind of strange. So I've never heard of you guys. So I go to your Facebook page, and I find out that a friend of mine who's one of the most celebrated music photographers in the world, Michael Clare, follows you guys, and a bunch of my friends from Vancouver also follow you guys. And I was like, holy shit, how do I not know these guys? So
did you do any further digging?
Well, I listened to some music. There wasn't
okay, there you go.
There's not a lot of information. There's no wiki page or anything, in your bio is pretty short, so it was hard to kind of figure out who you were. So this is a great opportunity to learn.
We existed under a prior name with one other member who cordially left our old band, and we pulled this cool trick where you can just change your name on Facebook, and keep all your fans.
Yeah, I've seen you guys live a few times, and I've actually interviewed. I've been on the bus and done some video interviews with you guys before.
Okay, and where was that?
For Pure Grain Audio, and here in Richmond was over at the Canal Club.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We played there with El Nino, didn't we?
Yeah, that was the night. Correct.
Yeah. That was, I believe, Dave Shivari that night flew home to see his family, I think, and their drum tech filled in. I think that was
really?
that night.
Yeah, I think was Shattered Sun on that one as well?
Man, I'm pretty sure they were. There was like two.
Yeah.
There was like two different legs of that tour where there was different support bands.
Right.
It was us and El Nino the whole time.
Yeah.
Different support for each leg of the tour, but I'm pretty sure they were on that.
Yeah, I used to work for a different magazine, Pure Grain Audio, that did I did a bunch of videos for them. Yeah. So yeah, we've met before in the past down here in Richmond.
Okay, word, yeah.
So now you know he's lying when he says he looks like Jason Momoa.
No, that's not.
Damn it, man, you had me fooled.
See?
It was that deep, dulcet tone of your voice, man. I bought right in, hook, line, and sinker.
Right. I love it. But how are you guys dealing with not being able to tour and, this whole nonsense we got going on now? Are you doing anything interesting or different to keep up with your fans?
Yeah. Well, this was more of a financial plan for us. I mean, with social media, it's so easy to just tell it, if nothing else, just tell a joke on Facebook and stay connected with your fans. So like that in itself was not really our fear through all this COVID stuff. The fear is how to keep the business afloat, right. Because it directly affected our ability to do shows, which is the primary income source for bands,
right.
in most genres. So we kind of did this weird pivot where we have a semi-private fan page outside of our Lonely Ones page that is run by a third party, a friend of ours, Phil, and we basically opened up an active merch shop and kind of pivoted into t-shirt decal sales for the spring, and that's been our income source. And it was kind of a weird, risky move, but it beat not making any money.
Right.
So that was our main change that we made real hard, real fast, and made the adjustment. And it's been able to kind of keep us above water financially, while, for a new band, there's a lot of delays in how you get your sales in as well, your album sales and whatnot.
Right.
So that was pretty much our immediate game plan was, let's start making t-shirts now, baby.
So are you guys doing drop ship merch? Are you doing drop ship merch? Are you doing drop ship merch, or are you
drop ship? I'm not familiar with that term.
It's so like, instead of making the investment up front and like printing off, say, 1,500 t-shirts, a drop ship is a company that will make the t-shirt on demand.
Oh, no. We had enough capital saved up on the front end that we were able to invest in a few hundred shirts to start.
Cool. Yeah,
I learned a new word. That's cool.
I've been noticing. The reason I ask is I've noticed a lot of bands right now are doing dropship merch or looking for ways to do it. So because go ahead.
We have our stuff printed through our friend that has a press and a screen printer. So it's just easier to buy everything up front.
Oh, it's definitely cheaper too.
Yeah. We knew that we could expect a certain amount of sales right away. So it felt like the move to invest up front on something.
Right. That makes sense. When you guys were writing, how did this quarantine affect your writing process? Did you end up taking more advantage of like mailing stuff back and forth, or how did that work all out?
Yeah. So we currently have 8 songs, that will be released in some form or the other, whether that's an album or an EP or 2 EPs or whatever. We haven't really decided yet. That all was done prior to the quarantine. So we were planning on releasing that as an album at that point in time. That being said, we've been trying to do our best to do our part as good, healthy citizens and like not be up in each other's face writing constantly. But we have kind of dove into the solo writing thing and trading ideas back and forth via that. Like, I have a home studio set up. Jake has a friend who he can get good demo recordings I've done quite efficiently and cheaply. So we've been, coming up with an idea on our own and sending them to each other and go, hey, what do you think of this? What do you think of this? Instead of our normal process of all kind of stirring everything up in the pot together.
Do you find that is it makes things more sterile or not as organic when you're doing it that way, or is that not really a concern?
No, we've never had like one specific way that we write. Usually it involves the group of us, or at least 3 of us in a room together in some form or the other. I wrote songs before.
Oh, 1 second, we got some massive technical problem going on here.
Uh-oh.
What's that sound, Bruce? Do you hear that?
No.
Do you have your phone? Does anyone have their phone near their computer?
It was sitting on the counter. Sorry. Go ahead. Continue.
Oh, man. No, but I mean, in past, there was times where I or somebody else in Boba Flex wrote a song pretty much solo and brought it to the band. So it's definitely not something that we feel lacks. And everybody gets their hands on it, without a doubt.
Right.
I'm not going to tell Tommy how to write a drum part.
No. I get that. I was just wondering, I think hard rock definitely benefits more than any other genre, maybe, from like everybody in a room banging things off each other.
Yeah, I think everybody puts their own fingerprints on the song before it goes to the studio,
Gotcha.
for sure.
Okay. That makes sense.
It's just how much is started on the front end by one person or a group of people.
Right. No, that makes sense. Totally. Chris?
So you guys have kind of like this, I don't want to say throwback sound, but like you said, you can definitely hear the influences that you have.
Yeah.
When you're playing live or even when you're recording, are you taking advantage of technology or are you trying to keep it more simple like amps and guitars and, bass amps and stuff? Or are you moving towards stuff like a Kemper or an Axe FX or even just an amp modeler and a DAW?
I think at this point, anybody who is kind of fighting against that Kemper thing is cutting themselves off at the knees. I'll put it this way. On this new record, or whatever we call it for the Lonely Ones, there is not a real bass amp on it. That is all Kemper. Granted, obviously you model. I think I modeled a lot of Aguilar and old SVTs.
Yeah.
But it's a lot easier to do. It's a lot faster. It's a lot more efficient. And I defy anybody to tell me the difference between prior recordings I've done with a live 1970 Ampeg versus this, and tell me which one's better. It's just, I think fighting it is just an outdated kind of move.
Right.
I'm not a religious guy, but can I get an amen?
Stupid.
I think it's about what you're writing and what you're creating. I dress like it's 1973, but I don't. That's just because I like it. It's not like I'm trying to add on this extra stuff when I play through an old vintage looking amp or whatever. I want what sounds good. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely.
I got to carry it a lot of times. I want something light and small.
I'm a recording engineer and I started on tape. And I remember when I first went over to Pro Tools in 99-ish, and I was there for a year, and then someone's like, let's do a record on tape. And I was like, sure. And I just remember how much I fucking hated it. I was just like, this fucking sucks. I have this fucking console in front of me. It's throwing shit all over the place. Frequencies, I fucking hated it. I never went back. I was just like, no way, I'm not doing this anymore. So
I mean, it's just a beautiful thing, man. I mean, it allows you to be as good as you want. People worry about having too many options and kind of that you get frozen in the face of all of the plugins you can drop, or how perfect can you get each take. But at the end of the day, a lot of the stuff we do on Pro Tools is like the bass tracks. It's only a few takes, just like it would have been on tape. You just have to discipline yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
To get it right beforehand.
You can use it however you want. You don't have to go through and edit the shit out of everything. You could use it like a digital tape machine.
Yeah, exactly.
And have the option of fixing a note here or there in a perfect take, which you wouldn't have had with tape.
Yeah. There's plenty of times when, we've gone, we record something and sit on it for 6 months, and we've already got it mastered and it's just sitting waiting to be released, and all of a sudden we go, man, I don't like this thing about this. I don't like the tone that I got. Guess what? We've already got the DI track saved. So I don't even have to book the studio time to go back and play it again with a new tone. We just take it back out of Pro Tools, send it to a reamp box, send it to the amp we like the sound of, and it's there. That's, I don't think anybody can really make too much of an argument that is a bad thing.
No.
Right.
I agree. Bruce?
So I'm going to get back to the Lonely Ones.
Oh yeah, I'm in a band. I forgot. Yeah.
Oh yeah. We have a habit of just drifting completely off topic sometimes.
I love it.
Shit, we went 30 minutes and we didn't even talk about why we're here. So we were just the one before you. The reason we're late, we were chatting with a band from South Africa, and we got totally into South African politics and economy.
Oh.
And he just kept going. I learned a whole lot. I didn't want to let him go.
What's the name of the band? I'll have to go pick this guy's brain.
Face the Gallows. Really good, heavy band. Yeah,
okay.
They're like a metalcore band out of South Africa. And I mean, Chris will tell you, he just kept chatting, and it was so interesting. I kept saying, I got to stay because I'm learning.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I don't blame you, man. Good interview is a good interview. It don't matter how long it takes.
But anyway, we said all that to say, so when you guys are writing for the Lonely Ones, are you writing with the live setting in mind, like how the song's going to come across on the stage, or are you writing the song just for a song's sake?
A little bit of both, I suppose. Like, I get caught up and go too far oftentimes because I forget that I have to play something live.
Right.
And a lot of that ends up being not necessarily the bass part and not necessarily the vocals, but the combination of the two. Because I generally don't write my harmony vocal parts until after we've already recorded the music. So I guess I write individually with live in mind. Am I going to be able to sing this live? Am I going to be able to play this live? But then I'll always screw up and sing something that is almost impossible to play counterpoint to what I'm playing on bass.
Right.
If that makes sense. And I end up having to lock myself in my room and do this weird mental tap dance where I'm figuring out how to play and sing at the same time. It happens almost every time. I hit panic and go, it's over. You've written yourself into a corner. You can't perform this. And a few days later, you come out of the cave and you're like, okay, I can do it. I swear.
And then you got to trick yourself into it.
Yep. Yeah, there's a song on the new record that I did exactly that. It's not released, so it's one of the songs that you guys haven't heard yet. If you send me your email after, I'll send it to you so you can hear it though. But I play a full-on like a guitar solo on the bass, and then lo and behold, we added a vocal part in later, and I forgot that I was playing a bass solo, like blues bends and everything, and I went, oh my God, and I laid on my floor. I was so discouraged, just singing and playing for days. And nice. I got it. I nailed it eventually.
Awesome. So when you're writing your lyrics, is there a message or a takeaway you want your fans to walk away with after listening to a Lonely Ones record?
You know, I very, very rarely write lyrics. So I can only give you secondhand what Jake and Marty write. A lot of time our kind of overarching goal that I think, speaking for them, is that it's mostly about kind of couching maybe some heavier subject matter, some darker subject matter in something that's a little more accessible on the first listen, if that makes sense. Eternal Sadness, which was the first video we put out, is a good example of that. It's a very, very dark song about some dark things that we dealt with, but we were like, you know what, it might be a little easier to put this out there instead of having a sad, somber piano part or some shit, having it be kind of put into like a My Generation-esque 1965 The Who kind of big beat dance number.
Cool. Now that you say that, I can hear that influence. I didn't hear it at the first glance, but now I do.
Thank you, man. Yeah, we were kind of going for that like bombastic drum and bass sound where the bass is almost more complicated than the guitar, but there's that trade-off. We've always kind of liked that sort of stuff. And
then you had to learn to sing it at the same time.
That one was the only one on the whole record that's actually pretty easy. I got lucky, and all the hard bass parts happen to be when I'm not singing.
Cool. Bruce? I think we lost
Bruce.
I think we lost Bruce.
Oh man, I was wondering when my applause kicked in. How do we hold on, my screen went off. How do we get him back?
No, he has bad internet. He's
You taking over then, or are we waiting?
I'm not sure yet. Let me just see if I can hear from him here.
He just messaged me and said, I am here.
I am here. Okay. I guess I don't know. So is there anything, or let me just ask this. Where can people go to find more out? See, this is why I need Bruce. I can't.
Right here, baby.
Where can people go to find more out about the Lonely Ones?
We haven't put a whole lot out yet, but if you Google it, you will find it. Every major social media platform, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, video platforms like YouTube, music streaming platforms, Spotify, Amazon, Apple Music, etc. We're on all that stuff, all the basics. If you're looking for anywhere besides that, we have a Bands in Town page that we are keeping up on our on our live show posting and whatnot.
Yeah, that's so strange, eh? Like suddenly just bam, everything's done. It was such a strange time.
Yeah, it's been weird, man. We started the band as a concept in July of last year, and basically started this laying down the train tracks ahead of ourselves for what we thought we were going to be doing well past now, well into 2021, and just with nothing that it got pulled out from under us and everybody. It's not like it's just about us, but I think the music industry was kind of the canary in the coal mine for that, because I feel like I knew things were really fucked long before a lot of other people did, because I was hearing about shows canceling back in February. With older performers, through some friends of mine, guys were canceling their shows and whatnot, and all of a sudden we had our first single, Eternal Sadness, went live on March 13th. We had that planned way back. Like, we knew that was going to be the day. And March 12th was when everything in the state of Ohio shut down.
Wow.
And that was, it was scary times, because we already had that train track laid out. So all of a sudden we had to run ahead and pick a lot of it up and try to, revise everything, stop a lot of the releases that we were going to put out. And then from there, try to build that new plan, which led us to that T-shirt thing, like I was telling you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you have to do something, right? Like, it's such a strange time in the music business. And, I think really for every business, it's been messed up, because I remember my wife manages 12 restaurants at Dulles International here in DC.
Okay.
And I just remember one day she went into work and there was no one there. And then suddenly, it was, okay, you have to lay off 10 employees. And pretty soon it was 200 within like a week and a half. And it just happened so fast. And it was just insane. We were like, holy fuck,
Insane.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, it was crazy. So
go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
A few weeks before everything kind of went down, the guy that owns our rehearsal space, which is also the guy that owns the studio we record at, Joe Veers, his son is a scout for the Columbus Blue Jackets, the hockey team. And he came to us weeks prior, and he told us before anybody had made any announcements about anything, he said the Blue Jackets are canceling everything. And it was kind of like this weird inside look into a bunch of stuff. And that was kind of when we realized, like, oh man, this is bigger than just the music industry getting cold feet. Their sports leagues are canceling everything. Oh yeah.
So, but you're a hockey fan?
Not really. My dad is. I guess my dad was an avid hockey player and fan. And I got the baseball bug from him. He grew up in Boston. So he grew the Red Sox all the way.
I fucking hate the Bruins.
I just grew up. You know what? You're not going to offend me with that, because I don't follow any team that closely. But I moved out. He moved out when he was in his 20s to the Pacific Northwest, where I was born.
Yeah.
There's no real like hockey presence in the Seattle area. So I just grew up away from it. It was not a part of my day-to-day life.
I'm not too far from Seattle. I lived in Vancouver for like 22 years in Canada. In Canada, I only recently moved to the States. So,
okay, yeah, So we're from not too far from each other, or spent a lot of time there. I moved away in 2012, and I live in Ohio now.
Oh yeah. I was wondering, because you kind of sound like you're from the West Coast. I was like, man, you don't sound like you're from Ohio.
It's funny. People from Ohio tell me I have a surfer kid accent, and people from the West Coast tell me I have a Southern redneck accent.
Really?
So I don't know which one is true, or if it's a mixture of the two.
No, you sound like you're from Seattle.
Yeah. Yeah, about Tacoma. So was that 30 miles south, probably?
Yeah, it's not too far. Yeah. But I guess Bruce is having some technical issues.
Ruh-roh.
Is there anything before I let you go? Is there anything you want people to know about the Lonely Ones that is important?
We're wilder than everybody you think is the wildest band you ever met. We're I mean, we've calmed down a little bit in the last few years, but it's 24/7 for us. It's not a joke. It's not a game. It's not about the Instagram clout. None of it. What you're hearing is real. Like I said, a lot of it is us in a room, boys getting together, writing the songs and whatnot. And it's going to keep going after this. All this COVID stuff is scary and not nice, but we've lived through a lot worse on the personal front. We've had a lot bigger hiccups. So, hopefully everybody comes out of this better and stronger. And I know we're gonna.
Dude, that's a great way to end this. Thank you so much for joining us today. It was a real pleasure, not only just getting to talk to you, but also discovering your band. So thanks so much.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
All right.
And Bruce, good luck getting your service back.
He just messaged me. I don't know what's happening.
I often don't know what's happening, so that's okay.
That's the story of my life. If it wasn't for my wife, I don't know what the hell I'd be doing. So, all right, Jimmy, thank you so much, man. Take it easy, eh?
Thank you. Be good.
Yeah, you too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Ever wonder what a punch from Elton John feels like?
Or how you'd cope with having turned down the chance to be in Nirvana?
Or what signal Keith Richards gives when he wants you to get the hell out of his hotel room?
Fans of Too Much Effing Perspective don't have to wonder, because they've heard these exact stories and a jillion others on our podcast. I'm Alex Hoffman, former tour manager for Radiohead.
And I'm musician and comedy writer Alan Keller. On the TMEP show, we get guests like Nancy Wilson from Heart, Jeremiah Freites from the Lumineers, and Modern Family's Julie Bowen to tell us things they may have only shared with their therapist, clergy, or a TMZ stringer.
So join us on Too Much Effing Perspective. That's EFFING Perspective. The only podcast you crank up to 11.